YouTube. How we doing, family? It's your boy Yo Hoops, and there's another episode of Fading the Public. We go through every NBA game every day. Today's Monday, January 20th, and we have an 8-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through every game, let you know which teams I like the most, and I have one highlighted play for today. I do this every day for free, so make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let me get into today's video. Recapping yesterday, we went 0-1 on our highlighted play of the day. We took the Orlando Magic plus 7.5 points against the Denver Nuggets. I thought it was a good spot for Orlando being at home. I thought Paolo would get his footing back. I was wrong. He shot 4 for 17 from the field, only had 10 points. He basically shot them out of the game, but hey, I feel like it was still a good spot for Orlando. I hate losing, so let's get back in that win column though. We're now 23-9 ATS on all highlighted plays, so we're still up huge, but I'm looking to give you guys a winner today. Without further ado, let me get into today's video. In our first matchup, we have the Dallas Mavericks in Charlotte taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Mavs are laying 6 points, and the total is 223. The Mavs have been a tough team for me to figure out this season. I feel like they win when they're supposed to lose and then lose when they're supposed to win. But that's because they've been banged up. I understand. Luka's been out. He's going to be out in this game. And then Kyrie's been in and out of the lineup. So I understand why they've been spotty. In this game, they'll be without Dwight Powell, Derek Lively, and Jaden Hardy. So they're even more banged up. Luka is still not playing as well. Kyrie will go, though. On the Hornets side, they're healthy, besides Saluan will be out. Obviously, the Mavs team is way better when they're healthy, but they are banged up, and I feel like in this spot, Charlotte can compete. I like what I've seen from them recently. They're on a 2-game win streak. We were able to cash with them in their last game against the Chicago Bulls. My only concern in this one is it is a morning game, and I feel like veteran players are more equipped to get up and perform in morning games, as to where the Hornets have a lot of young players and a lot of times it takes them a little while to heat up. But we're going to roll with the Hornets plus the 6 points as our first selection of today. And honestly, if this wasn't a morning game so early, it would be a highlighted play. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Detroit Pistons in Houston taking on the Houston Rockets. Rockets are laying 8 points and the total is 223.5. I like what I've seen from Detroit this season. If anything, I feel like they remind me of what I saw from the Rockets last season. I was surprised to see the Rockets stacking wins and being competitive in games, and they still are. If anything, they're even better this season, but the Pistons are emerging as a solid team. When I look at Houston's record against the spread at home this season, they're 9-8-1. They normally have been killers against the spread the last couple seasons at home, but they're about 50-50 this season. On the other side, Detroit is 10-5-1 as road underdogs against the spread. So they've been cashing about double your money betting on them in this spot. I do think Houston wins the game just because they ball out at home, but I think 8 points is too big to lay with them in this spot against the Pistons. So we're taking the Pistons plus the 8 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves in Memphis taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies are laying 6 points, and the total is 224.5. I like what I've seen from the Grizzlies. They've been handling business, winning their last few games in dominant fashion. They're now third in the West, and that's a little surprising for me to see because they've been banged up this season, so they've still been hooping, even missing multiple pieces. In this game, Ja Morant is questionable, so definitely keep an eye on that. But I like how they played even without him. On the Timberwolves side, Dante DiVincenzo is ruled out, and then Rudy Gobert is questionable. If Gobert doesn't play, that's huge. Naz Reid is a great baller and a good big man to have, but if Gobert doesn't play, they are lacking some size on the Timberwolves. I think the Grizzlies just lock in this spot. I like how they played at home as well. As home favorites this season, the Grizzlies are 12-6 against the spread. So you've been cashing in this spot. I like the situation for them. We're taking the Memphis Grizzlies minus the 6 points as our highlighted selection of today. Let's go Grizzlies. In our next matchup, we have the Atlanta Hawks in New York taking on the New York Knicks. Knicks are laying 6 points, and the total is 236. This is going to be a fun game to watch, in my opinion. I told you guys in that last game against Boston, Trae Young likes to hoop against these big teams. He likes to go into the big city and hit him with the brrr. I told y'all. They won the game outright in Boston in that last one. Looking at the injury report here, Josh Hart and Karl Anthony Towns are questionable for the Knicks. Obviously, it's huge if Karl Anthony Towns plays, so keep an eye on that. For Atlanta, Zachary Rasasher is out, and then Trae Young and Jalen Johnson are probable, so they should go. This is usually a competitive series. Like I told you guys, I love Trae Young in this spot. The last meeting between the Hawks and the Knicks, it ended 108 to 100, and that was in Madison Square Garden. So I think at least the Hawks can cover this spread. We're taking the Hawks +6 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our next match, we have the Phoenix Suns in Cleveland taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs are laying 7.5 points, and the total is 235.5. This is a huge mismatch, in my opinion. This is one of the best teams against one of the most mediocre, in my opinion. The Cavs this season are 14-8 ATS as home favorites, so they've just been killing in this spot. The Suns, as road underdogs, are just 3-7 against the spread. So like I said, this is just a mismatch. The Suns are still without their true center, Nurkic. And like I've been telling you guys, I don't like the Suns without their center. They're already lacking size. KD doesn't play like a big man. So the Suns are in trouble. The Cavs are without Evan Mobley, so that helps the case a little bit. But I still think they show us why they're the number one team in the East. Cleveland goes crazy. We're taking the Cavs minus the 7.5 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Boston Celtics in Golden State taking on the Golden State Warriors. Celtics are laying 10.5 points, and the total is 224. This line's been growing too. It opened at Celtics -8. This is a rematch of the 2022 NBA Finals right here. This is always a good one. We know there's a rivalry between these two, and the Celtics try and get revenge any chance they can get on the Warriors. The story for this one, in my opinion, is the injury report. So for the Warriors, Kyle Anderson, Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, and Draymond Green have all been ruled out. That's a long injury report. And then Steph Curry is questionable. I do believe he plays, though. Boston on the other side is basically healthy in this spot. I think the Celtics have this game circled on their calendar. I think they want to blow out the Warriors in Golden State, get some revenge, like I said, any chance they can get. We'll take the Celtics minus the 10.5 points. I wanted to make it a highlighted play, but I can't fade that light-skinned man like that. So we're taking the Celtics minus the 10.5. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Utah Jazz in New Orleans taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are laying 11 points, and the total is 232. We saw this matchup 3 days ago on January 17th, and the Pelicans won 136 to 123. We did have the Pelicans as our highlighted play of the day that day, and it was this same line, -11 or -10.5. So we know, obviously, they can cover. The Jazz were banged up in that one, but they're still banged up here. So it looks like Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, the list goes on. But in this one, the Jazz do have Walker Kessler. And I let you guys know in that last one, Walker is big for the Jazz. He's like 7'3", and that makes a big difference for them out there. In this one, on the Pelican side, Zion Williamson is questionable with an illness as well. So the Pelicans are a little banged up in this one. The Jazz are a little healthier, but we're getting the same line. I think you don't want to lay double digits like that with the Pelicans 2 games in a row, 2 spots in a row like that. So we're taking the Utah Jazz +11 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our last and final matchup of the evening, we have the Chicago Bulls in LA taking on the LA Clippers. Clippers are laying 5.5 points, and the total is 227. Like I've been saying, the Clippers are the best home team in the league. Maybe the wall's working. They're now 10-2 ATS as home favorites this season. It's kind of unreal, honestly. You're up insane. That's one of the best records in 12 games ATS I've seen in a while. The Clippers are on a back to back. And like I always say for older teams, that does affect them a bit more. They are without Kawhi Leonard here. But I saw them throttle the Nets by 40 the last time they were on a back to back. I think the Bulls can't really compete with the Clippers at home here, and they're going to show us why they're the best home team in the league. We're taking the Clippers minus 5.5 as our last selection of today. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I like our highlighted play of the day today. I think I'm getting us back in the win column. We're still up huge 23-9 ATS on all of our highlighted plays and including plus money underdogs on the money line. So we're doing our thing, guys, but I look to get us back on track. I'm here every day doing it for free. Just make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the video. I appreciate it so much. It's your boy, Yo Hoops. And until the next one, I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.